Hey, it's Ian Hairston, and I'm here at Turntable in Jamestown, and I'm going to interview Radiance creator Sherri Raeford. So come on, let's go inside and see what she's talking about. It's the Ian Hairston Show. Ian Hairston Show. Entertainment on the go. For everyone you know. It's the Ian Hairston Show. Alright everyone, hey, welcome to the Ian Hairston Show. We're here at Turntables in Jamestown with Sherri Raeford, the creator of Radiance.
Performing Arts Company.
Performing Arts Company, thank you. Thank you for coming on to my show. First off, because I'm all sweaty and stuff, tell me a little bit about what Shared Radiance is and how you got started.
Shared Radiance is a non-profit theater group. I started about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I decided that I wanted to experiment with doing theater in places like public parks, coffee houses. Right now we're in Turntable, which is a coffee and wine venue. Mm-hmm. Places where people didn't necessarily expect to see theater. And I do a lot of Shakespeare, places where people didn't expect to see Shakespeare. Mm-hmm. And I wanted the theater to be extremely interactive and extremely, I guess I'll say user-friendly, and that people could relate to it, and it would be up close and personal.
Good, good. What would you say is maybe your favorite thing about doing this so far?
Just the fact that it's evolved. I mean, another goal of mine, of course, was education, because I am an educator. Mm-hmm. And as the company moves forward, there's just constantly new things happening. We started out with a play in the park. Mm-hmm. We did Midsummer Night's Dream, and the audience actually followed the actors through the park. Okay. And from scene to scene rather than it being stationary. Then we started performing in coffee houses. We started doing things such as, we just started going to schools and doing workshops. Now we have a school show that we actually take into the schools that is a 45-minute show, especially for school children and teens and community groups.
And talk to me about that, because I love any type of like youth-oriented like art program or anything where you can involve the youth. So tell me a little bit about the program where you go into your schools and that sort of thing.
Well, I'm an educator first. I actually taught theater in schools for about 27 years. Okay. So during that time, I directed teams. I worked with teams. So when I decided to do Shared Radiance, I wanted to work with adults with my main stage productions, but I still wanted to keep my involvement with teens and still teach teens. So I developed this show. It's a 45-minute show that actually goes along with the essential standards that students are taught in school, which sounds really boring, but we don't make it boring.
Right, of course.
It has a lot of rhythm and fun, and 3 actors that are kind of exciting and a lot of movement. And we go into classrooms, not on stages, into classrooms, and take Shakespeare right into the classroom and do scenes and monologues connected with narration. And then afterwards we follow with workshops. We can design specifically for the schools, whatever people prefer.
And me myself, since you're working with the youth of Shakespeare and that sort of stuff, I studied Shakespeare my whole sophomore year of high school. My teacher was huge in the Shakespeare. She loved it. That was her thing. And so we were required to read it and perform it a lot during our English class. And she was also my theater teacher.
She obviously had a good program.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it was and that was actually her first year there. And she did a lot of good stuff with it. But how easy are you finding it to relate Shakespeare to this, I guess, techno generation that are out now? Is it? You would say it's gotten easier or harder?
That's an interesting question, the techno generation, because what I've done with it is I've taken it back to authentic, original practices, as they do at the Globe Theater, where it's live music. You share the light with the audience, just like you would have had to do at the Globe. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of technology connected to it, but I find that they do connect, because so much of what students do these days is technology. It's online. That actually having real actors, people playing live music, everything right there, and being performed and created by individuals, I think they connect with it. This is kind of a lost art. It's exciting, and it requires a lot of creativity, and I think that technology is important, but I think it shows that true creativity comes from individual people working together.
Right. You talked about the Globe Theater, and so you worked there and you studied there, correct, for 10 years, is that right?
Well, actually, I was involved in 2003.
Okay.
I applied for a program that sent educators to the Globe to work and study on the stage and to teach in the schools in London. That's things that I got to do when I was over there.
Mm-hmm.
I went in 2003 and 2005,
Okay.
both times during the summer. We worked with the masters at the Globe.
Mm-hmm.
We studied movement, voice, and all the theater things that you do study. We studied the text, but did it in a real active way, physically.
Mm-hmm.
I think in American literature, a lot of times when we try to study English literature, especially Shakespeare, we do it in a very stationary way.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
extremely active.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it culminates in a performance on the stage. Both times that I went, we did a one act of Richard III. The second year, we did a one act of The Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
The first year, I had the privilege of performing at a school in Guildford, on the countryside of England,
Okay.
with the American group and representing the Globe.
Okay.
We did a one act of Richard III. And next year I was there, we actually taught Shakespeare in an inner city school.
Okay.
Americans in England teaching Shakespeare, which was, they loved our accents.
Right.
Oh, we love the way you talk.
Right. I was going to say, for those who don't know what the Globe Theater is, what is that?
Well, of course, the Globe was originally the Shakespeare, the theater that Shakespeare performed and wrote for in
Mm-hmm.
Elizabethan times. And several times the Globe has been destroyed for various reasons, or burned, and been rebuilt. So in the 90s, early 90s, Sam Wanamaker, an American actor, went to England to visit the Globe.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just this little plaque that said, "This is where the Globe stood."
Gotcha.
It's like, what's that about? So Sam Wanamaker said, you need to rebuild this
Mm-hmm.
in a place close to where the Globe was. Well, there's a parking lot in an apartment building where the original Globe stood.
Mm-hmm.
So about a quarter of a mile, maybe an eighth mile off site on the Thames River,
Mm-hmm.
very close but not right on, they did a replica of the Globe where the audience, the actors perform in the light, it's open air, it's actually,
Really?
yes. And so when you step on that stage, you get the feeling of what it's like to perform on an Elizabethan stage.
Was there anybody like spitting on stage? Was it that Elizabethan?
Yeah. It was Elizabethan. I'm always the ground woman up there. Always like, and I've been. My husband and I actually went back this year for a show, and I've stayed involved. The program was Shakespeare Lives that sent me over there.
Okay, yeah.
They still do workshops and classes and camps at the North Carolina School of the Arts. We still bring Shakespeare Lives. Still brings people from the Globe over. So Shakespeare Lives is where my training comes from.
Okay.
So I'm still involved with them. But yeah, when we went with Shakespeare Lives, they required us to be a groundling.
Mm-hmm.
We stood, I always had my elbows on the stage. Not only did I dodge spittle, I dodged nosebleeds, swords. I saw somebody get caught up under a woman's skirt one time, completely up under it and trying to get out of it. I mean, I've actually, one time they grabbed a groundling and pulled them up on the stage and made them a part of the stage. It's the most up close and personal theater you can imagine.
I would love to see that actually.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, I want to ask you 3 random questions real quick.
Okay.
My first one would be, if you could be any Shakespearean character throughout all of his works for the rest of your life, who would it be?
I'd have to be Beatrice.
Okay.
Beatrice is a very strong female. She's very feisty. For Elizabethan times and period, she's a strong woman. She stands up to people, and she ends up falling in love with Benedict. But she gives him a lot of interesting intellectual stimulation with her sparring. I like Beatrice. From Much Ado About Nothing, Beatrice.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah. For
Yeah.
those who don't know,
Strong woman.
what would you say is, well, on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm sorry, the Romeo and Juliet movie with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio, which I grew up on.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate that?
Personally, I'd probably give it about, maybe a 7 or 8. I actually prefer that one to, oh, you mean the Leonardo? No. You're not the guy. I'm talking about the one I saw back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd give it a 3.
That's honest.
Some people disagree, but I don't know. I get so caught up in the gunshots and the violence and the whole time. I don't know. I can't. Some people really love it, and people that are very into Shakespeare really love it, but I don't connect with it very well.
All right, that's fair. And my third question is, did you know that Chris Hemsworth was picked as sexiest man alive over me? from people.
You have to be kidding. You have to be kidding.
Yeah, like,
if you can just feel the vibes coming off this man.
If that's, once again, I was not picked, but I just, did you know that?
No, I did not. Okay. And I'm so sorry to hear that. Obviously, they didn't hold the right women.
Thank you, thank you. That's that compliment I was fishing for. Okay. Also, really quick before we go, I'm gonna play a quick game for you. It's called To Be or Not to Be.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw out some ideas at you, and you will say to be if you like it, or not to be if you don't want it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So the first one is eating alone.
To be, occasionally.
Reality TV.
Not to be.
Global warming.
Not to be.
HGTV.
Not to be.
Okay. What about spicy foods?
To be.
Picnics.
To be.
I hate spicy foods, by the way. I can't do spicy. I do sour, but not spicy. What about shopping?
To be Amazon.
That package when they send a smile, that does things for you. Nicki Minaj.
Not to be.
Not to be. Fake plants.
Not to be.
Real plants.
To be.
Cranberries.
To be.
Cats.
To be.
Dogs.
To be.
What about crafting?
To be occasionally.
Occasionally.
Craft, fine arts to be, craft, not to be.
I try to craft because it makes me feel like I'm doing something with my life. And I can go, ooh, look at that. I paint this candle.
That's to be,
and
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not very good at it. I just do it from time to time because I saw it on some talk show or something like that. So anyway, all right. Well, that's going to wrap up my interview for you. Is that okay? Was that painless?
That's painless.
Okay.
I'm just really sorry you didn't get the sexiest man alive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
We'll see if we can do that poll again.
If for those of you who want to contact you or want to get in contact with you or see your shows and that sort of thing, how can we find you?
I'm on Facebook, Shared Radiance Performing Arts Company, and we have a website, sharedradiance.weebly.com. So you can get either one of those places, and you can email me at shared.radiance@hotmail.com.
Okay, cool. And you all know you can always find me on Twitter at officialkingian. You can find me on Instagram at officialkingian. You can also find me, you can email me at officialkingian@gmail.com. Last thing before we go, I know you have to go. My jam of the week this week, I always do a jam of the week. My jam of the week is I'm Alright Brother. It's by Reverend Gary Hairston, who just so happens to have the same last name as me and look just like me. Well, I look just like him. But go check out the song. Go pick up the album, God is Good, Smile. It's on iTunes and Amazon and Google Play. And check out the video on YouTube for I'm Alright Brother. So that's all. So thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for being a good sport. Once again, we're here at Turntables. This is Sherri Raeford, and thanks for tuning in.